I'm Sheila Brummer with Siouxland Public Media News. The federal government would monitor Iowa's troubled Glenwood Resource Center for the next 3 years under a proposed settlement between the state and the U.S. Department of Justice. The DOJ started investigating in 2019 and found Iowans with severe disabilities were subjected to human experimentation and poor medical care at the facility in Glenwood. The new agreement between the state and federal government has yet to be approved by a court. The Iowa Department of Health and Human Services will receive more than $28 million from the federal government to strengthen its public health system. The CDC announced this week it's awarding $3.2 billion to local and state governments. The majority of the funds come from the American Rescue Plan Act and will be directed towards workforce development. This means recruiting and retaining critical frontline workers such as epidemiologists and contact tracers. The state plans to use the money to meet critical infrastructure needs. This includes hiring staff that will assist the state's local health departments. And a boost for home ownership in Iowa is also coming from COVID-19 relief money. Governor Reynolds today announcing almost $20 million in grants to provide 90 families with a place to call their own. 16 organizations statewide were awarded the money, including a dozen Habitat for Humanity affiliates, including Siouxland Habitat for Humanity, that received more than $1.6 million to assist with 6 homes. The Iowa Home Grant Program is part of a $100 million investment to increase the supply of housing options in the state. The money was provided through Federal American Rescue Act state and local fiscal relief funds set up during the COVID-19 pandemic. State officials have certified most of Iowa's midterm election results. The State Board of Canvassers confirmed more than 1.2 million Iowans voted in the midterm elections. It's the second highest turnout in state history for a midterm. 55% of all registered voters took part. According to the Secretary of State, Winneshiek County had the highest turnout with 64%. A special canvass is still being planned for 3 Iowa House races. Former Woodbury County Sheriff Dave Drew has withdrawn his name from consideration to replace Woodbury County Supervisor Rocky DeWitt. The Sioux City Journal reports in mid-November, Auditor Pat Gill said he planned to suggest Drew for the appointment. DeWitt was elected to Iowa Senate District 1. He will have to step down from the Board of Supervisors before the legislative session starts in January. Drew worked for the Woodbury County Sheriff's Office for 37 years. Ada Sheriff. He currently works at Western Iowa Tech as the College Police Science Coordinator and Director of the Regional Law Enforcement Academy. DeWitt did say he plans on staying on the board until the end of the year. A committee made up of Gill, Tina Bertrand, and County Attorney James Loomis will meet after DeWitt's resignation to make the appointment. By law, the committee can make the appointment within 40 days of the vacancy or choose to hold a special election. Voters can petition for a special election within 14 days of the publication of the vacancy or appointment. The petition must be signed by people representing at least 10% of votes cast in the last general election. Gill said a special election would cost between $20,000 and $30,000. Drew says he believes the county would be better served with a fresh face replacing DeWitt. Representatives from Summit Carbon Solutions say they're making progress getting landowners to sign voluntary easements for a carbon dioxide pipeline. The comments were made during a media tour yesterday at an ethanol plant near Galva. The Sioux City Journal reports one official with the company says almost 60% of landowners along the route signed up. The level in Ida County is almost 70%, Cherokee County 70%, and Crawford 80%. The proposed pipeline would take carbon dioxide from ethanol and fertilizer plants to an underground site in North Dakota, thus preventing the carbon dioxide from entering the atmosphere. The pipeline would run through 30 counties in the state, including several in Siouxland: Woodbury, Plymouth, Sioux, Lyon, O'Brien, Cherokee, Clay, Dickinson, Ida, and Crawford, and extend into Dakota, Dixon, and Wayne counties in Nebraska. The EPA has proposed increasing ethanol and other biofuels that must be blended into the nation's fuel supplies over the next 3 years. The announcement today was welcomed by renewable fuel and farm groups, but condemned by environmentalists and oil industry groups. The proposals also include incentives for the use of biogas from farms and landfills, and biomass such as wood to generate electricity to charge electric vehicles. It's the first time the EPA has set biofuel targets on its own instead of deferring to Congress. The agency opened a public comment period and will hold hearings in January. And gas prices in Iowa are following the national trend, and they continue to drop. AAA Iowa says the average price of a gallon of unleaded gas in the state is $3.21. That's about 14 cents lower than last week and down 31 cents from a month ago. The national average is $3.54. AAA says the price of oil dropped on fears of an economic slowdown, and that has led to the drop in gas prices. For Siouxland Public Media News, I'm Sheila Brummer.